We'll sit up here with Brenda.
Okay, yeah.
I'll just say Brenda's. You seriously don't stay and watch from home on the intranet if you want.
Yeah.
We tried this one.
Yeah, a little bit.
Have to use this specialty pen, right?
Yep.
That's the only one that works with it.
I got you, no problem. Yeah.
Well, kind of related to teachers.
Not really.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's Board of School Trustees meeting. We begin this meeting like we do every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we have roll call of members.
Good evening, Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Julie Hollingsworth, District 1.
Jennifer Mathias, District 2.
Raleigh Booker, District 4.
Noah Smith, District 3.
And to my left, we have Dr. Mark Daniel, Superintendent of Fort Wayne Community Schools, and Angie Filler, Clerk of the Board. And I'm Maria Norman, and I am Member at Large. So this evening, we have no awards and recognition, so we move directly to the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes for our regular meeting on June 26th, vouchers and payroll, and the personnel report. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move we approve.
Second.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks, Raleigh. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Dr. Daniel, did you have anything?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I actually waited this time, and then you didn't have anything. All right, no old business, so that brings us to new business. Steve, can you do, nope, okay. Julie, can you do A?
I'm
No.
not even up and running yet.
Okay, no worries. I'll start with A and give everyone time to make sure that I'm in the right spot. I went too far. Here we go. Okay, first thing on the agenda, Park Center case managers for elementary, secondary behavior support classrooms. It is recommended that the board approve the contract to provide case managers in our elementary programs and secondary behavior support classrooms for students with disabilities for $195,000. The contract with Park Center provides each of our elementary behavior support classrooms a case manager during the school day to support FWCS staff with students' behavioral needs in these 12 classrooms. In addition, it provides one Park Center case manager for our middle school behavior support classroom. The program's funding is being supported by Medicaid and Federal Grant 611 Part B and will be overseen by Dr. Nikki Sprunger, Assistant Superintendent of Diverse Learners. Jennifer Burning, Director of Special Education, and Brenda West, South Wayne's Principal, will be available to answer any questions. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Thanks.
Second.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Julie. Any questions?
This will serve 12 classrooms at the elementary or middle school level? I guess I'm all confused.
We have 12 elementary classrooms and 1 middle school classroom.
So one support person from Park Center for about 250
One
kids?
for each classroom.
Oh, one for each classroom? So we'll get 12?
We'll have 13.
Okay. And which middle school will be at?
It'll be at Portage.
And then the elementary at South Wayne or spread throughout the district?
Throughout the district, we have 5 different elementary schools.
And which ones are those?
South Wayne, Haley, Studi, Price, thank you, St. Joe.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you so much. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Can you do B, please?
It is recommended the board approve acceptance of the Indiana Department of Education 2023 David C. Ford Digital Learning Grant in the amount of $41,025. Funding for this grant will be used to provide professional learning around universal designs for learning and student-centered classroom environments. With the grant funds, we will be working with the identified schools and educators at each level to provide an ongoing training and support and implementation of practices. The instructional technology team will be able to use this data to help develop next steps in leveraging digital resources in our instructional technology practices. Shannon Quigley is here if we have questions.
Thanks, Steve. Is there a motion on the floor?
So motion.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Second.
Thanks, Noah. Any questions for Shannon?
Shannon, can you explain a little bit what Universal Designs for Learning means?
Yeah, universal designs for learnings are just a idea for making things that are accessible for all students. So giving kids, different tools, resources that make the learning easier, accessible, and it really benefits all learners. But things like providing text to speech, a lot of the special ed features that you have seen, it's really putting those in every lesson so that all students benefit from them. Okay.
So this will be over a specific software, or just all software, or all programs, all?
It won't necessarily be software related. It will be in regards to instructional practice. So how are they using all of the tools and resources that we have so that they are used effectively within instruction. So we know we don't want students just sitting and receiving content online. We want them creative, active learners taking control of the learning or having that student agency. So it's really about how can we shift some instructional practices to be more student-centered in our classrooms.
And this will be at elementary level or all levels? Or?
Right now we're looking at elementary and middle, and we have not identified the schools we'll be working directly with yet, but we are in process of doing that.
Will you be more focused on the special learners, or?
No, this will really be for the general education classroom, but it's just the principals, and those are coming from some of the initiatives that the state is really focused on that in regards to blended learning, so that we can make sure that all of our students are getting those opportunities to learn whether or not they need those identified supports.
So in summary, this is to help us take the tools we have and utilize them better or more effectively in working with the kids?
Correct. We want to make sure that our teachers have knowledge around how to use all of the resources that we're providing and see student mastery, student gains from those tools in our classrooms.
I'm going to ask an off-topic question, but how did Ignite go?
It went really well. We had great attendance. We got great feedback, lots of sessions. Our teachers led some really wonderful sessions for other teachers to learn from. We had great guest speakers, and I think overall it was pretty good success.
Jack Bird was a rock star?
Always is.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Julie, can you do C now?
Yes, finally.
Okay.
It's recommended that the board approve the Indiana Department of Workforce Development's 23-24 adult education grant in the amount of $1,179,011. This grant fund is in the fourth year of a competitive multi-grant that runs 4 program years from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2024. These funds will be designated for personnel, professional development, instructional materials, supplies, equipment, and purchase services, integrated education and training, and the workforce education initiative, including workforce certification programming for local Allen County business and industry. The adult education grant includes over $900,000 for adult basic education, $262,000 for integrated education and training programs and workforce education initiatives, $10,000 for high school equivalency testing, and $3,500 for a professional development facilitator stipend. The grant was written by Manager of Continuing Education Programs, Lonnie Heck, and I believe he's available to answer any questions.
Thanks, Julie. Is there a motion on the floor?
I move for approval.
Second.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Raleigh. Any questions for Lonnie? No. No.
Can you talk about who this serves from like a, what do you mean, or what does it mean by adult education?
Yeah, so adult education, that would be anybody 17 or older. Our big buckets are anybody that needs a career type of job certification, high school equivalency diploma, or a big growing bucket in Indiana are adults learning English. So those are our 3 main drivers. That's the type of student. It's an adult, and they're looking for language, jobs, or diplomas.
How many are we serving in that vein right now, roughly?
Our program served mid-800s, and our prior year, this past year, we got to 980, and the goal is to get to 1010. I think our program in the past pre-COVID topped out in the 1100 range, and there's plenty to go around. There's around 23,000 people in Allen County that would fit one of those buckets for us to
Really?
serve. Yeah.
Is there any other district in the county that does this?
From a school district standpoint, we're Region 3, basically Northeast Indiana. Impact Institute is connected to Noble Schools, but it's not in the same umbrella fashion. They're more of an independent. And then Marion is connected. Their adult center is connected to the schools, but it's not, again, run the same way. So it's pretty 50-50 with adult programs. Some are very connected to the schools as we are, and others are more independent, self-running entities.
So those other 22,000, how can they find out about you? Give us a little commercial.
We have our social media. We have, with the Fort Wayne Community Schools website, you guys spreading the word of what we do. We are quite unknown as far as what we do, but we're a great resource for people. So I say it's really about spreading the word. Like, hey, did you know Fort Wayne not only serves students K-12, they can help an adult in your household as well. We really rely on word of mouth. We are such a growing program that it's really that referral. Hey, I got this. Did you know? And then we rely on social media and just those other type of avenues.
I did not know that, so thank you.
So currently, what is the, what's the max amount that you can, based on who you have hired and the program right now, what is the capacity of the program? I know you said something about 1,100 prior to COVID.
Yeah. Money-wise, that's a great question. The state recently lobbied over the budget coming through, and there is $8 million more added from Governor Holcomb into the adult ed pot. $4 million this year is to make people whole. Many programs are up and down. Some have grown past COVID numbers. Others are struggling still. And then next year, when this comes around and I'm standing before you, there should be another $4 million to grow. What that looks like depends if we hit our goals. I would say of the 5 in this region, we're really good at hitting our goals. We blew past all those. So to speculate what we'll get, I can't say. But I know in the past it's been 1.5 to 2. Where that lands, I couldn't tell you. It's data driven. We hit our goals. We were successful with the students that come through. More money potential in our pockets to spend.
Okay, that's fabulous. How about the capacity to actually, if we all of a sudden go out and do word of mouth and we're really good at it and we're sending you another 2,000 students out of those 22 that we're missing, can you do it?
No, I need more people. This year, with that increase, we are actively trying to hire an evening, full-time, Monday through Friday ELL teacher. I have a part-time every other in the evening, but that is a growing need. So in order to facilitate and meet all that need in the county, it would take more people and money. And the DWD, they're aware of that. They acknowledge that every program does have its ceiling and that the dollars can only go so far. But I'm very pleased to tell you we do a great job with the money, and our teachers are fabulous at helping people grow and get one of those 3 things we give them.
Great.
You mentioned that 1010 was the goal, so we do have the capacity to handle that number.
Yeah, like I said, we topped out at 981, and if we get to 1010, we can do it. For instance, ELL. We stopped bringing in new students, adults, in April because it's the nuance of they're not going to grow before the program ends. It's all about growing them on our testing, and we didn't have the capacity was there, but it was really about let's wait until August, September when we start afresh with all the data and bring them in. So yeah, I don't think we've reached our limit, but saying 2,000 more students or so, it would be a challenge without more resources. But we do well with what we have at the moment.
So you do focus, or you do, you're on the same schedule as?
Yes, we typically run a school year calendar. DWD asks that we stay open 50 out of 52, but we have we call it summer session. We just don't offer as much in the summer. We only did diplomas this summer in June and July, Monday through Thursday for a couple hours. So just like summer school, people that wanted to either get in or continue. We serviced 40-ish people, those two, and then things really ramp up as the school year, as people just get that mindset, that drive, like, hey, I want to get this done.
Do you get separate ELL funding, or is that ELL come out of these funds?
Yes and no. So the other grant you'll read into the record here in a minute,
Is that coming
is,
up? Aha.
yes, that is for ELL students, adults, learning the civics, the government. That is where that pot goes. The grant you just read in, it is any adult seeking any of those things that we offer them. So there is kind of a ELL specific one, yes.
What is the most common language spoke of your students trying to learn English, out of curiosity? Right?
In our program, kind of reflects the county, Spanish and Burmese, but we have a lot of Haitians with French and then the other Creole languages. And then we've seen a modest uptick in Ukrainian and some Afghani, but I would say the main ones are type of Burmese, Korean, and Spanish in our programs.
And to help Steve out, maybe, what's the oldest student you've had here in the last memory?
The last I knew, we had somebody in their 60s.
Well, it's never too late to learn, is that
Never,
what you're saying?
and that's the message, that
Steve
you
tells
guys.
me that all the time.
Yeah, that's the message you can put out there. It's never too late, because that's what people think. It's too late. This is beyond me. I can't do this. And tell them we got a great program that can help them get to the finish line.
So once the students graduate from there, and we have sounds like a vast number of students who have dual language once they come out, are we recommending or telling them what kind of opportunities we have in our schools to possibly assist, classroom assistant or some other things with some of our schools that are really looking for people with a dual language?
Yeah, it's not the main thing we promote. We really try to gear the jobs toward the high demand that Indiana, the workforce development, say is kind of in demand. But we regularly point them toward the job board and point them toward the opportunities that are there. And it's more my program, but I hired someone, and then there's been multiple come through where they've learned English and then they work for me. I have an assistant who learned English with us, and she works with our high schoolers, and we've had other assistants that's come through. So I think that's something we could work on and really promote and point them toward, but it's not always their focus. The hot jobs, CDL, CNA, CDA, those type of things are really more forefront of some of our students we serve, but something we can always keep pointing people toward.
I think that the workforce development is a huge role in our school systems as well, so we'll just add us to the list.
All right, will do.
Lonnie, I was so impressed with the program, and I walked away thinking, well, first of all, there were a couple of graduates who were already enrolled in college,
Yes.
as I recall. But I thought to myself that if I were an employer looking for people who were going to show up every day, it would be one of the graduates. If they were not working, it would be one of your graduates at night.
Yeah. There's a lot of gratitude for what doors our program opens for people. So I agree.
Thanks so much, Lonnie.
Yep.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Jennifer, can you do the next one?
It is recommended that the board approve the Indiana Department of Workforce Development's 23-24 Integrated English Literacy and Civics Education IELCE grant in the amount of $265,795. This grant fund is in its fourth year of competitive grant that runs 4 program years from July 1st to 2020 through June 30th, 2024. The purpose of this grant is to provide adult English language instruction, integrating all 4 civics concepts: naturalization, civic engagement, U.S. or United States history, and government. The funds in this year's grant are designated for integrated education and training. The grant was written by Manager of Continuing Education Programs, Lonnie Heck, and he is still here to answer our questions.
Thanks, Jennifer. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move we approve.
Thanks.
Second.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks, Raleigh. Any questions for Lonnie on this?
And Lonnie, how's the amount of the grant decided? Is that have anything to do with enrollment or?
Yeah, that one's heavily tied to enrollment. So the more students that we identify in the ELL classes, it's really making sure we hit those little buckets that you just read: naturalization, civics education, U.S. history, and some programs look at it as, well, only the high level. We have 3 levels of adult: low, medium, and high. And some people look at, well, the higher students need to have that type of training. And I talked with our ELL teachers, and they really felt that it's just natural. They're talking about those things as they come. They're great ways to learn English. So I put all of our levels in it, and so that's why that number's there. And so, yeah, it's tied to enrollment.
No. Okay. Thanks, Lonnie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I'll do the next one. Student and staff Lenovo devices. It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of Chromebooks from Trafera of St. Paul, Minnesota for $159,588 and 2 Lenovo computer models from Process of Indianapolis for $721,409.80. You can see the breakdown there of 372 Lenovo 300Es, 1300 Lenovo 500W, 150 Lenovo L13 Yoga 3Gs, G3. This purchase is according to our normal 4-year replacement schedule and also provides district spares. FWCS was able to secure pricing from Trafera that is 26.5% below the National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance pricing. FWCS was also able to secure pricing from Process that is 47% below General Services Administration pricing. Indiana law does not require public bidding for purchases made at or below approved cooperative purchasing agencies and/or GSA pricing. Funding will come from the Common School Fund Loan, and Kevin Grubel, Manager of Technology, will be available to answer any questions. Is there a motion on the floor?
So
I'll
moved.
move. Second.
Thanks, Raleigh. Thanks, Steve. Any questions for Kevin? No? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Awesome. Raleigh, can you do the web filtering?
it is recommended that the board approve the purchase of a 3-year contract from LineWise, which is a web filtering, content monitoring, and classroom management software subscription from Secure Tech Solutions of Fortville, Indiana, for a total of $435,000. The web filtering component of the subscription will be used on all staff and student devices. The content monitoring component will monitor student email and content stored on Google Drive and OneDrive. If improper student access or content is detected, the responsible school administrators will be notified. The classroom management component will also allow teachers to view, restrict, and focus their students' internet activities while in class, allowing a more focused learning environment. The subscription covers school years 2020, 23-24, 24-25, and 25-26. The subscription meets the Children's Internet Protection Act requirements and provides protection for devices while at school and at home. The 3-year contract will be paid in annual installments of $145,000. The first year will be paid from the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief ESSER grant, and the remaining 2 years will be paid from the Operations Fund. Kevin Grubel, Manager of Technology, will be available to answer questions.
Thanks, Raleigh. Is there a motion on the floor?
So motion.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Second.
Thanks, Noah. Any questions for Kevin?
Can you walk us through, Kevin, how this will functionally, do you believe, work?
How will it functionally work?
Yeah, for like a teacher or a student or?
Yeah, so we currently have a product called Securely installed, as does our content filtering and our student safety. This new product line-wise is just simply replacing that. So there's a client installed on the computers, reports back to a cloud portal. From there, that's monitored by AI and by adults. If there is a student safety issue or an alert, then calls go out, emails go out to building administration and so forth to take appropriate action.
So this is something we have similar today, we're just changing vendors and?
Correct, yeah.
Approximately how many devices is this on? We have it's huge, obviously.
Correct, yeah, so we run in the neighborhood of about 40,000 devices. So this will be installed throughout those 40,000 devices.
Are there any enhancements to this provider compared to our prior provider that you saw throughout your review process, anything of that nature?
Yeah, so we're currently in a kind of a mixed environment, especially when you start to talk about the classroom management or the teachers being able to view student desktops. And that's led to a few technical issues. By going to a single platform, we're looking to resolve those issues, make things a little bit more seamless and easier to navigate.
Will this be available to substitute teachers then, if it's going to be teacher kind of monitored and led?
The day-to-day substitute teachers, I don't know if we can technically make that happen. If we're talking about a long-term sub, as long as they are listed as a co-teacher, then this will be available to them as a co-teacher.
Is this on our computers, or can we get ourselves in trouble?
Well, all 40,000 devices will have the software deployed to them.
Okay.
So be good.
Is there going to be, I think I've read that there's certain opportunities for classroom teachers to shut down, do whatever, individualize what's happening on their computers in their room. Did we have is there going to be a learning curve from what was prior to using Securely to the new, or will no one really realize or know any different?
I wish I could say there'd be no change, but when you change technologies and vendors, there's going to be an amount of change. So we'll be working with some PL videos. The district technology coordinators will be doing some in-building training and so on and so forth.
So did we pilot this new system and have people working with it to see how easily or how hard that learning curve will be?
We did. So we had 2 final vendors, and we used Summer Learning as kind of our pilot ground, where we deployed one vendor to a certain group of schools and then a second vendor to another group, and line-wise kind of won out in the tail end of that.
And so Summer Learning had actual classroom teachers involved?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes.
So Kathy, I see we're going to use ESSER money for the first year on this contract. So we have 14 months, right? To spend down ESSER, spend or obligate?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. No, we have to.
Have to spend it.
We have to spend it, yeah.
How are we doing?
I don't think we're gonna have any trouble spending it. It's what do we do after that?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
One more question, and it relates to that question they just asked. How long prior to this new vendor had we been using Securely?
We're coming out of a 3-year contract.
And prior to that?
Yeah.
You don't have to say the vendor. I don't care.
Yeah, we used another vendor. Do you know the term on that? How long were we using them?
I think I'd have to look. We used it for at least 5 years.
Okay. So before our kids were even taking home devices and such, we still had something like that in place?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
So part of SIPA, we're bound to content filter, and before one-to-one, we could do that on a hardware appliance in the data center.
Okay.
When one-to-one hit and the devices went home, we had to go mobile. So that's where we looked at Securely. Securely was a mobile client, and now LineWise is that mobile client for us as well.
Okay, great.
This is out of left field, but do you have any sense of how much it costs per student or teacher or adult per computer usage wise? I mean, you got the computer to buy, you got the software, you got this. Any guesstimate or sense on?
So a dollar value of the device and the tools that we use for each staff member?
Yeah, and because this isn't really helping us. I mean, it's something we have to do, right? It's a cost. So not so much enhancements like Shannon's, that's coming in, hopefully helping our teachers and students learn better or whatever. This is something we have to do. Any sense of that kind of cost? I was curious to know if you.
I don't have that for you. I can pull something together for you if you'd like, but I don't have that here with.
That's fine. Thanks for.
I think to Noah's point is, people take for granted that, okay, here's your computer.
Yeah.
Here's what we're doing in our classroom. We've set up here and approved multiple recommendations for this software, that software, all go into providing our students with the best information and technology and tools that we possibly can. And even though we're seeing like a price here, we got 45% less on a computer, it's all the other things that go into that as well. And so, where it used to just be here's a high quality book and some notepad, it is a large expense, and we do our best to be good stewards of acquiring and having people like you research and put those things on our kids' computers. So it's more than just a software program, but
You're absolutely correct. So, we have many different licensing that enables like our Microsoft tenant. We have the LineWise now. There's just numerous loads of licenses that we load up. We've got Adobe that we license for kids for the Creative Cloud content, many others. So to your point, yes, we have lots of kind of behind the scenes costs that's used on a daily basis by our students. So it causes us to be creative and be frugal.
So as with Noah, I'd be interested if it may take you a while to figure that out, but what it actually is per device and being able to hand that out and actually work in our district and using that computer, what exactly that costs for that. Because we all know we have to be there. That's the way it is. But as a business owner myself, I know what my computer costs me and all the software that it costs to be able to do my job. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, about this direction, how many licenses do you put on a computer, or how many things like that to distribute out to each student or staff? Or do you have any sense of that?
Like how many licensed products do we put on?
Yeah.
It kind of varies. So some of our software licenses are curriculum based. So if you look at some of the kids in Anthos Career Center, they heavily use the Adobe Creative Cloud, whereas elementary kids don't. So it depends upon the classes and stuff.
Same sense of on average, I get
I mean, if you look at any one of our computers, there's probably close to about a half a dozen to maybe 8 or 9 across the board. You get into some of the specialty curriculums, the new text, the Project Lead the Ways, that's gonna be amplified.
Sure. Thanks for letting us quiz you.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, thanks, Kevin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Noah, can you do emergency projects?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Recommend the board declare an emergency for the following projects and allocate funds for the emergency allocation within the capital projects plan. Indian Village Elementary and Portage have to have their condenser coils replaced. Kikianga has to have a boiler. Utility repairs are needed at the North Transportation Center, Northrop and North Side. St. Joel Elementary needs to repair a sewer line. Haley Elementary and South Side have broken windows. And general overall maintenance and operation needs to rebuild a wide area mower. Total projected cost on this is $117,000 and $102. The 2023 capital projects plan consists of all capital projects that cost $10,000 or more. New projects over $10,000 determined after the CPP was approved are required to follow the advertisement and approval requirements of an amended CPP. However, IC 20-40-18-6 allows the board to determine that an emergency exists and therefore amends the current CPP without the usual amendment procedures. The 2023 operations fund budget includes an appropriation for emergency capital projects. And our favorite Darren Hess in the world Director of Facilities, here to answer questions.
Thanks, Noah. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Jennifer. Any questions for Darren?
How much is the appropriation for the emergency capital projects?
It was set at 200,000.
200,000, okay. Have we hit that yet?
No.
Are these all the emergencies so far this?
Yeah, this is basically the first half of the year.
Admittedly, I don't know another Darren Hess, so you're my favorite Darren Hess in the world. Remind me, is this a calendar year or June 1 or July 1 to June 30?
Yeah, January to December.
And this is all we've had so far?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
I see.
Anything else? No? Okay.
But I have a question real quick. So looking down at Haley and Southside, broken windows due to vandalism, that would take into account insurance or vandalism catching the people? I mean, those just...
Our insurance is $50,000 deductible per incident per site, so we're not there on that. And then security is still actively trying to find out culprits. So.
Is it one window at each school or multiple?
Multiple at each, mainly at Haley.
Gosh, that's disappointing. Any other questions for
Thanks,
Darren? Okay. Thanks, Darren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Steve, we're back to you. Are you ready?
It's recommended the board approve the following construction contract for the Franke Park Elementary Support Services Hub renovation and ADA lift replacement project. And you see the bid from Schenkel Construction, base bid at $594,800, and that is the total contract amount. The project consists of the renovation of an existing classroom area to create a new support services hub for activities and the installation of a new limited use, limited application elevator. The project was designed by the Moak Park Group and will be funded from the 2020 School Building Basic Renewal, Restoration and Safety Project. Project specifications require the work to be complete by July 25 of next year. Darren is still here to answer questions about this project.
Thanks, Steve. Is there a motion on the floor?
A motion.
Second.
Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Noah. Any questions for Darren about this project?
Did we not do the music and art classroom interior finishes? We didn't accept or they didn't accept?
Since the bids have come in, we've made this recommendation. We've been working with building administration that we're going to be able to shift some things around that we don't have to have that cost.
So they'll get done, we just don't have that cost?
Correct.
Nice. And is this part of the lift program that we had talked about like a month or two ago?
Yeah, that's coming later. This actually pulled out because we were doing this other work, and it's right adjacent to where the elevator is. So, you know, economy of scale, it made sense to include this in this project instead of having two different projects in one building.
So it's in addition to the other ones?
Correct.
And this will take out a classroom or just kind of re-envision it?
So this is right-sizing Franke Park. So we will be able to remove the modulars that are outside. For years, Franke Park struggled with are we a 3 or 4 section school? We finally got them to a 3-section school. This took it was an old science kind of biology classroom built in the 90s and repurposing it to have this hub for a lot of the specials, which were scattered all over under stairwells and that previously.
How many modulars will we get rid of?
There will be 2 classrooms there. So one
2
building.
modular classrooms?
Yeah, correct.
How many are currently there?
2. We won't have any modulars there after the summer.
Okay, so those will be gone?
Or next summer, correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nice. Any other questions? No? Okay. Thanks, Darren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Julie, can you do I, please.
This is appointment of a project architect and construction manager as constructor for 24-25 ADA lift modernization projects. Recommend that the board approve the following design and construction manager as constructor contracts for 24-25. Martin Riley, architect engineers for $449,400, and FCI construction for pre-construction services for $28,125. The 24-25 ADA lift modernization projects include the installation of new limited use, limited application elevators at 11 buildings to provide accessibility to all levels of the building and meet ADA standards. Buildings include Adams, Harrison Hill, St. Joe Central, Weiser Park, Whitney Young, Early Center for Academic Success at Nebraska, Jefferson, Kikianga, Lane, Northwood, and Portage Middle Schools. The contract procurement method for these projects is construction manager as constructor for publicly funded projects as allowable under Indiana law. The recommendation includes the design services contract based on a percentage of the construction value, as well as a fixed fee for the pre-construction services. An additional recommendation for construction manager services during construction will be presented at a later date, along with the establishment of a final guaranteed maximum price for the project. The overall construction budget for these projects has been established at $6 million. The projects will be funded from the 2023 general obligation bond, and Darren Hess is still with us to answer any questions.
Thanks, Julie. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Jennifer. Any questions for Darren? This is the presentation that we had. Is this what this is?
Yeah, about 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah. That one. Okay, yeah. Awesome.
Is FCI construction someone we used before? Or they-
Correct. They rebranded. They used to be Fetters Construction out of
Oh,
Auburn.
okay.
So they've
Yeah.
done work with many K-12 entities around here for years.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Thanks, Darren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Jennifer, can you do the next one? Thanks.
It is recommended that the board approve the following progressive design build services contract for Miami Middle School entrance vestibule and office security project. CME Corporation Phase 2 services with a guaranteed maximum progressive design build contract for $1,325,000. On May 22nd, 2023, the board approved Phase 1 design build services with CMA Corporation using the progressive design build process under criteria set forth in Indiana Public Works Design Build Law, IC 5-30. CMA Corporation provides a Phase 1 report for review to the Technical Review Committee, along with the final guaranteed maximum pricing on June 20th, 2023. The projects will be funded from the 2020 School Building Basic Renewal Restoration and Safety Project. Project specifications require the work to be complete by July 25th, 2024, and Darren is still here to answer our questions.
Thanks, Jennifer. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Raleigh. Thanks, Steve. Any questions for Darren?
Will we be down to just Blackhawk that doesn't have the secure vestibule after this, or we?
That's your next board rec, I believe. Howland, Indian Village, and Northcrest. Miami and Blackhawk are the remaining 5, correct? And they'll all be in place by fall of 2024-25 school year.
And we are starting construction on Miami, but we pulled this forward, correct?
Correct, just on the secure vestibule office relocation. The overall renovation project will start designing at the end of this year, beginning of 2024.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions? No? Okay, thanks, Darren. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I have the entrance, vestibule, and office security projects at Holland, Indian Village, and North Crest Elementary Schools, 2024. It is recommended that the board approve the following construction contract for the entrance, vestibule, and and office security projects at Holland, Indian Village, and North Crest Elementary Schools. This goes to ACB General Contractor for a contract amount of $951,000. This project consists of the construction of secure vestibule entrances at Holland, Indian Village, and North Crest Elementary Schools. The project was designed by the Moak Park Group and will be funded out of the 2020 School Building Basic Renewal, Restoration, and Safety Project. Project specifications require the work to be complete by July 25th, 2024. And you have in your board packet the bids that we received, with ACB General Contractor being the lowest. And Darren is still here to answer our questions.
We approve.
Thanks, Noah.
Second.
Thanks, Julie. Any questions for Darren? No? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Raleigh, can you do the next one?
It is recommended that the board approve the amendment of the 3-year custodial services agreement with Sodexo Services of Indiana Limited Partnership, Woodland Park, Colorado, that was effective July 19th, 2021. Terms of the original agreement allow for price adjustments for renewal years to compensate for inflation. This amendment is related to an agreed-upon ECI increase. This 1-year renewal amount effective July 19th, 2023 is $12,154,282.30. And Darren is here to answer questions.
Thanks, Raleigh. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move approve.
Second.
Thanks, thanks, Noah. Thanks, Jennifer. Any questions for Darren on this one?
What is the ECI increase?
It's a national publication. It's the Employee Cost Index, and there's different different classifications, and we fall under public, custodial, I believe.
Education, schools K through 12.
Yeah. So
It's like CPI,
it's like the CPI, yeah.
but ECI. It's largely employees.
All the acronyms.
And then the increase is $12 million plus, or it's
No, that's the
0.2?
1-year renewal price. So that's the 1-year cost of the contract.
How generous is Renee being to us? How's that compared to prior?
It was 4.7 this year, which was higher than previous years, but as you know, that's what the market is right now.
Oh, sorry. So I have no skills. So if I were hired, what would be my starting pay, my hourly pay, under this agreement?
It's currently at 15, but we're reviewing that whole process because we think that's in the market, but we're looking at like a 60-day kind of going back into backwards and making sure that you're not just paying for the shirt, because you're always going to have those people that come and say, I don't like it. So it's currently still $15. But if we went up to 4.7%, I think it's $15.32, something like that, after a few days.
Darren, what's our contract renewal strategy? Is it 3 years, 1 years? How do you see these?
Yeah, we're on a 3-year rotation, so this is the final year of that 3-year. So we'll start negotiations in 4 or 5 months
Okay.
to look what the next year 3-year renewal will look like if we still want to renew.
So this is just an adjustment for the 3rd year of this contract?
Correct.
Okay.
Built into the contract each year, it's that ECI is the amended price
Okay.
for the contract year.
Got it, thanks.
But the rest of the terms and conditions stay the same.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So sorry, just to summarize, Renee, all the increase is just for wages, basically, right? Or it's
Correct. This
Was there other-
annually also takes our net difference in square footage. So like, for example, Abbott added some classrooms. We took away some offices at South Transportation, so it's the net difference of that as well. And there's part of the contract, there's a square foot price that's per the contract.
Okay.
It gets adjusted every year as well. But those are the two conditions yearly we change.
Thank you.
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Noah, can you do item M?
Sure, it's recommended the board approve all interfund loans necessary to eliminate deficits in funds of the corporation as of the end of fiscal year June 30, 2023. Cash deficit and funds of the corporation are not allowed at the end of the fiscal year. Normal timing difference between revenue and expenditures could cause temporary deficits. State statute allows temporary transfers between funds if certain requirements are met. The treasurer will make all the necessary transfers in July when closing the June 30th, 2023 fiscal year end numbers. Kathy Friend, CFO, is here to answer questions.
Thanks, Noah. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move approve.
Second.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks, Steve. Any questions for Kathy Friend? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I'll do the next two. Transfer from Education Fund to the Operations Fund. It is recommended that the board approves the 2023 transfers from the Education Fund to the Operations Fund. It is further recommended that the board affirm the transfer of $6 million in June and approve up to an additional $6 million by the end of the year. The total represents 5.3% of the budgeted Education Fund revenue. Beginning in 2019, Indiana school districts deposit state tuition support to the Education Fund and property taxes to the Operations Fund. Transfers from the Education Fund to the Operations Fund are necessary to properly fund expenditures necessary to the operations of the school district. Kathy Friend, CFO, is available to answer any of our questions. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Steve. Any questions for Kathy Friend?
So Kathy, this is well below the state's DUNS cap level, 15%, isn't it?
Correct.
And isn't this a little bit smaller percentage than what we've done in previous years?
No, it's about the same.
About the same?
About the same. And actually, we may not transfer this whole amount by the end of the year because with growing interest revenue and indirect cost revenue, we may not need to make as large a transfer to the operations fund this year. So it may be well lower than 5.3%.
Is there any data, since the state put in place that 15% kind of
I have not seen
cap
that. No.
what it is, what the average is statewide or anything?
Yeah.
I mean, I assume somebody is collecting that.
There are some, yeah, I would think so. And there are districts that are over the 15% because they have like extremely high circuit breaker. And so that causes them to have to transfer more. So we are in a good position that we don't have to do that.
Good job, Kathy Friend. Any other questions for Kathy? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Let me find the last one. Here we go. The 2023 general obligation bonds. It is recommended that the board conduct a public hearing regarding the matter of appropriating the proceeds of the 2023 general obligation bonds and investment earnings thereon. Subsequent to the public hearing, it is recommended that the board adopt resolutions to authorize the issuance of bonds and to approve the appropriation of the proceeds and the earnings thereon. On May 8th and May 22nd, the board held the 1028 preliminary determination public hearings on the project. No petition requesting for the application of the petition remonstrance process was filed with the Allen County Voter Registration Office by any members of the community subsequent to these hearings. The project includes, but is not limited to, the installation of security equipment in buildings and the installation of several elevator lifts. The amount of the general obligation bond is $10,250,000. The appropriation resolution allows for an appropriation of $12 million to account for interest that may be earned on proceeds. At this time, all interested parties are entitled to present their testimony regarding the project or bonds. Upon the conclusion of the public hearing, the board will vote on the two resolutions. Resolution 1, authorizing the issuance of bonds, and Resolution 2, to approve the appropriation of the proceeds and the earnings thereon. If anyone here would like to comment, please come to the microphone. We ask speakers to limit remarks to 1 3-minute session. As there is no one who wishes to speak, the hearing is now closed. So we need a motion to approve our two resolutions. Is there a
moved.
Second.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Julie. I'm trying to make sure I don't mess this up. Okay. The appropriation resolution of the 2023 general obligation bond proceeds and interest earnings thereon. Is everyone in favor of that? Signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution 1. Resolution 2, authorizing the issuance of bonds for the purpose of providing funds to pay for all or a portion of the cost of the 2023 district-wide safety and security and handicap accessibility facility improvement project and costs associated therewith and on account of the issuance of the bonds. All those in favor vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, fabulous. I thought I was being punked with all those words. Okay. All right, so that ends our new business, which brings us to board comments. Steve?
No additional comments this evening? Thank you.
Thank you. Julie?
Well, I believe our next meeting is August 14th, so by that time, we will already have 2 school days under our belt. So I wish everybody a successful and enjoyable start to the school year. Parents, families, students, staff, looking forward to it.
Yep.
No comments tonight.
Thanks, Jennifer.
So last Monday, I attended the first day of our 10-day new teacher orientation, and the PL department literally rolled out the red carpet for new teachers. We greeted them at the door with high fives and handshakes, and some people got hugs. So it was just a really good moment. I got some action shots of that too, but it was just a really good moment to do that. Another great moment happened during Dr. Daniel's official welcome to our new teachers. He shared important information like our mission, our vision, our priorities, but I would like to commend Dr. Daniel for emphasizing the important role of equity in education. He recognized and celebrated the diversity of our students, our parents, our staff, and administration in his address, especially important during a time in this country where the mention of diversity, equity, and inclusion can be polarizing. So our superintendent, our PL department and leadership, our DEI department and leadership has set a remarkable example and standard for incoming teachers. You guys did an awesome job. You have my support, and I'm sure you have the support of our full board in your work. Thank you.
Thanks, Riley.
No comment.
Dr. Daniel?
So a couple things, again, back to the 10 days for our new teachers and some administrators. It's been overwhelmingly positive. One particular comment, have a teacher who's returning after retiring, and his comment was, I wish I would have had this when I started teaching. Perhaps I wouldn't have made the mistakes I made. So again, I want to tip my hat to Ramona and her team, but also to all the presenters. And then we did have at night Ed. presenter there, the keynote speaker, I think also was emphasizing how to create relationships, how to emphasize engagement of our kids. Again, that's our responsibility, so let's get to that work. I thought that was exceptional as well. Numbers, we did sell out, so not all people attend, but we sold out. So again, that's hats off to Jack and his team. And then on August 8th, we have the all-district meeting coming together. It is at 10 caps again, and I guarantee you it will be different than last year, but it will grab your attention. So hopefully we'll have some students leading the process. And again, starting our year off with hopefully a message of consistency, focusing on what we're doing in well-being and conscious discipline, restorative practice, but also what are we doing in the areas of literacy and numeracy, as well as celebrating what has happened this year with 3DE. We just were at a presentation on Thursday night. Maria, you were there. Junior Achievement Celebration, they call it Gratitude. But again, having all of Northside's both freshman and sophomore teachers there that are now part of this process for this coming year, as well as Snyder's freshman and sophomore team. So again, I can just say we're ready for the year. And it's going to be an unbelievable year as we start to train for schools of success. And that will happen throughout this year, preparing for the 24-25 school year. So again, I want to thank everyone here that has been an integral part of that planning and processing, but now let's start the training and let's start the implementation. So very excited. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I will just say I'm very excited for the new school year. I don't know that my 7th grader is very excited about starting school, but I have enough excitement for the both of us. So very excited to be back in the buildings. And looking forward to August 8th with the all-district meeting. I know we have in-person registration coming up this Friday from 8 to noon, and then on Monday from 12 to 7. And I know we have 6th grade transition day, which I think is also 9th grade transition day on the Wednesday the 2nd, and then kindergarten is the 1st. Yes? Yeah? Okay. I got it. Okay. Well, we look forward to having everybody back, staff and students included, and we appreciate all that everyone does for our district and for our students and our community. So our next meeting is Monday, August 14th. And that concludes our business portion. Is there a move?
I move to adjourn, Madam President.
Second.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks, Steve. Is everyone in favor of adjournment? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Awesome. Let's see. At this time, those who have